Hey everyone, William Selway here, and welcome to DM Sorcery Platforms. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down all of the platforms that you can use for DM Sorcery as a vehicle to turn a completely cold lead into a warm appointment booked into your calendar, ready to show up and buy your services. Now, we are going to be giving specific SOPs for choosing platforms, creating accounts, lead sourcing, and we're going to do this for every specific platform that is viable. We're going to do this for Facebook, we're going to do this for LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, before we get started, it's important to note that this video you're watching right now is not going to break down every single platform one by one, because that would take over 2 hours, and it just doesn't make sense to do it all in one video. The way I see it, every single person watching this video right now will have a different platform that is going to work for their niche. So what we're going to do instead is run through an SOP or resource hub that you can use and digest at your own speed, if that makes sense. So we're going to create one resource hub and run you through it now, and then we're going to link off to specific platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and create specific videos breaking down lead sourcing, profile configuration, profile creation, warming up, etc., and content. Okay, and you can effectively go off and watch those videos at your own time. There will be a video breakdown for every single one, but it's not going to be covered in this video you're watching right now. Okay, so to get the specifics, I'll show you how to do that. Just click on the resource hub, go to the specific platform you want to set up and operate, and then digest the content at your own speed. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. We're going to start with the alchemy of social media. And this is very important. There's a certain mindset that you have to get into to approach doing outreach on social media. Remember, social media is not designed as a vehicle for you to get clients. It is designed for users to have a good time and for the companies to make money. Keep that in mind, okay? You're going to get action blocks. You're going to get bans sometimes. We're going to give you the SOP so you can avoid them, but just understand you're using a platform that is designed for people to create relationships, people to digest content, people to click and scroll endlessly. And anything that hurts user experience is going to affect your accounts, okay? Keep it in mind. I'll run through exactly how it works, but just keep it in mind throughout this process. Social media is social media. It's not a vehicle for you to get clients. Remember that. Next, we're going to go over picking winning platforms. Every niche, everybody watching this video right now will have a niche that is active on different platforms. We're going to show you how to pick the one that was going to work best for your niche. Next, we're going to go over account creation, how to actually create accounts on these platforms without getting banned. And finally, we're going to go over platform dynamics. Now, this is the section here where it will branch out into specific documents that you can go down and click on to get specific information about Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. It's not going to be covered in this video. You'll have to go off, click on them, and then watch the video relevant to the platform you want to set up. Okay. Now, in these videos, we're going to cover profile configuration, lead sourcing, sending limits, content creation, and account warm-up, because these are going to be specific for every platform you're operating on. And we're going to give you specific SOPs for Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. Okay, so let's get into it. So welcome to DM Sorcery Platforms. This resource explores the primary platforms we use to conduct DM Sorcery to book us appointments. Quick note, there may be more platforms added to this resource that aren't covered in the initial video in the future. As of right now, we have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. But don't be surprised if we add in WhatsApp or Reddit or Discord or School, okay? Right now, we've got the 4 ones that we know work, so we're going to teach you those. It also doesn't mean that you can't go off and test Reddit, Discord, WhatsApp, School, okay? But we just don't have specific parameters for them. So go off, test it, find what the limits are, create your accounts, and give it a test, okay? That's the only way, that's one of the best ways to get results with this system, just by testing new things. If you identify Reddit as a hotspot for your niche, by all means give it a go. We just can't give you specific parameters for how it works, but we are very confident that it will work. It will just take some testing. So first things first, we are going to cover the alchemy of social media. So before we get started, we need to set expectations when we are using these platforms to book appointments. It's very important to remember that social media platforms are not designed to support outreach. Social media companies are businesses who have only one goal, and that's profit. They may have more goals, but the main one is getting money into their business from the social media platform. So social media platforms exist to create an enjoyable space for users to view, interact, and engage with content online. Their number one priority is making their platform an enjoyable place for people to spend their time. The more enjoyable a platform is, the more time users spend on it. The more time a user spends on a platform, the more money they make. Unfortunately for us, users of these platforms have been inundated with spam marketing messages for years. Most of the time, these messages are completely unsolicited and leave users feeling annoyed. The more marketing messages a user receives, the less they enjoy a platform. The less they enjoy a platform, the less time users spend on it. And the less time users spend, the less the platform makes. Because of this, social media platforms are doing everything they can to limit the creation and usage of fake accounts, and they go to quite extreme lengths to protect user experience. Due to this, it's very important to remember that we can encounter some troubles when creating, warming up, and using these accounts. You need to accept the fact that you will most likely experience bans and limits at some point while using platforms for outreach. Trust me, this is not the end of the world. Remember, it's only one account, we can make more. If your accounts do get banned, or you do experience limitations, it's okay. Remove all emotion from the equation and just move on to the next one. So picking platforms. What you need to do here is use your knowledge of your niche to decide which platform or platforms are going to be best to reach out on. For example, I can tell you for a fact that gym owners aren't receptive to LinkedIn messages at all. So considering your niche, which social platforms are they most likely to hang out and be active on? It's very important. If you pick the wrong platform, it can be game over. Quick note, if you don't know what platform your niche is most active on or identify multiple as viable, we recommend choosing a few and testing them over the first 3 to 4 weeks. Monitor the metrics, identify which platforms are performing the best and remove the ones that aren't. So these platforms can include Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, X or Twitter, WhatsApp, Discord, TikTok, Reddit, Telegram, and many more. Essentially, if there is a space online where your niche hangs out and you can message them, that is a platform that is viable. Now, for all of these platforms that have a little asterisk next to them, we've not used these, okay? So we won't be providing SOPs. But that doesn't mean they don't or won't work. They'll work provided your niche is there, active, and findable. So if you identify, for example, TikTok is a hotspot for your niche, test DM Sorcery there. Same for Reddit, Telegram, Discord, and WhatsApp. If you notice your niche is active on there, just test it. What's the worst that can happen? So, account creation. There are 3 different ways we can approach this when acquiring accounts for outreach. So first things first, we have manual creation. This is actually creating the accounts yourself on your home computer under your real name. And this is the recommended method that we preach, essentially. You want to first create the account on your home IP. No VPNs, no proxies, just your home IP and your home browser. Next, you need to use dedicated email and phone numbers. And what that pretty much means is you do not cross-contaminate login details. So if you have 2 accounts, you're not using the same phone number for each. They have to have different phone numbers and different emails. Next, and by far the most important part of this, you need to have 2 accounts per person, per platform maximum, okay? So for every single person or identity, you can have a maximum of 2 accounts. And we do this by having one account, which is your first and last name, and a second account, which is your first and middle name. For example, my name is William Thomas Selway. I would have one account, William Selway, and one account, William Thomas. The reason we only have 2 max per platform is these platforms can sometimes ask for ID verification. If you get this, you will use your driver's license for the first one and your passport for the second one. Okay? Very simple. Trust me, I've tested this. If you have any more than 2 profiles on a platform under the same identity, you will get banned. Yes, you can make it work for maybe a couple weeks, couple months, but they will eventually end up getting banned. As I said above, social media platforms' number one priority is protecting user experience, and the one way to crack down on that is by just taking out fake accounts. If they notice you have 4 or 5 accounts under the same name, it's only going to be a matter of time until you start getting banned, action blocked, and removed from the profile, because they effectively only want one person and account per platform, essentially. Once you've done that and you've set up the accounts, you will then start the warm-up, essentially. Okay, so it's very specific. Create the accounts yourself, specific phone numbers and emails, 2 accounts per person per platform maximum. Set up the account using the SOPs I'm going to show you below, and then begin the warm-up. The next thing that we can use, or the next resource we can use to create accounts, is use your team members. Now, if you're very early on in the agency stage and you don't have team members, then obviously you can't do this and you'll move to the next one. However, if you do have team members, maybe you have a sales rep, an appointment setter, maybe you have a VA, or maybe I wouldn't advise using a VA, but any team member in your business who isn't currently doing outreach, just ask for their login details or get them to create a second one. Okay, remember, every person can have 2 accounts per platform. Go ahead, and if they've already got 1, you can effectively get 2 from every team member that you've got. Okay, next, configure the profile using the SOPs and begin the warm-up. Okay, now obviously you will be sending from their profile. You don't want to get their profile and then change it to your name. You want to be sending from their identity. So if you do that, you will be sending voice notes. Keep that in mind. If you don't have team members, you can use friends or family. Okay, now what you can do, and I've used this multiple times in the past, is find a friend or family member who either has an old account they're not using, or ask them to set up a second one under their name if they don't already have one. So as I said, every identity can have 2 accounts per platform. You can essentially get a friend or family member who only has 1 Facebook account to create a second one for you to use for outreach. Obviously, you will have to ask them, and sometimes they won't be happy to do that. But if you've got a good friend or a good family member who is happy with you doing that, you can get that set up. And it's a really cool way to get a real account under a real name and actually just scale up your outreach. Once you've done that and you're logged in, configure the profile using the SOPs below, set up the account, and begin the warm-up. And the final method we have here is buying aged accounts. Now, quick note, I do not recommend buying aged accounts. In my experience, any account that I buy gets banned very quickly. Yes, you can make it work, and yes, you can operate for a few months, but then they always end up getting banned, okay? This method is much more risky. If you have exhausted your limits with manual creation, you can use this approach, but keep in mind, please go for all of these above first. To do that, you buy aged or verified accounts from bulkaccountsbuy.com, okay? So you just come to Bulk Accounts Buy and select what you want. Ideally, for example, if you're buying a Facebook account, you want to be selecting an aged one with 50 to 100 friends, and just select how many accounts you want and purchase it, okay? Very simple. I understand Bulk Accounts Buy does look a bit sketchy, but we've used this hundreds of times. Loads of people use this. This just works very well, so we recommend Bulk Accounts Buy. Next, you leave the account for 2 weeks, no activity. So the first thing you do when you get this account for Bulk Accounts Buy is you leave it for 2 weeks and you do not touch it. We don't know what's happened in the time between them setting it up, selling it to us, and us logging in. So the first things first, you leave it for 2 weeks and no activity at all. After that, you can start the warm-up, and we'll show you the warm-up process below. Next, configure the profile using SOPs. Please note, it's a very real possibility you can experience bans during this transition, especially when changing names. If so, simply buy another account and repeat the process. Next, you begin the warm-up. Now, quick forward, you should always aim to hire appointment setters once you have maxed out the amount of accounts under your name. So before moving to team members, friends, family, and buying accounts, just consider the ROI of hiring a commission-based appointment setter, and you'll pay them for each appointment they set at between $30 to $50 per appointment. Appointment setters scale so much easier, and trust me, if I could go back in time to when I first started my first ever agency and I had no money, I would get a credit card and I would hire an appointment setter. Okay? What you want to do when you're making decisions like this is act as if you are the person who has already achieved their goals. Then ask yourself the question, would that person have doubts around hiring an appointment setter? I doubt it. Worst case scenario, you just remove them and create more accounts using these steps, okay? So once you've got 2 accounts per platform, and maybe you're operating on 3 different platforms, I promise you, just hire setters, okay? Going down the team member route and the friends or family route, or buying aged accounts, is not the number one most optimal way to create accounts and operate them. For a start, you have to send voice notes, and secondly, they could easily get banned. Okay, so we highly recommend scaling past having accounts for yourself by just hiring appointment setters. Take the hit, they always perform, and it just scales so much easier. Okay, I promise you, from running a setting team for close to 2 years, setters are a gold mine for appointments for your business. Okay, and obviously you are going to have to pay them per appointment, but if they get 5 appointments in, one of them's going to convert. And it's going to cost you maybe like $200, but that lead is going to convert for a couple thousand. So I promise you, just do it. Take the hit. It just makes so much more sense in the long term. Okay. And we're now at the part where we are going to split off into specific platforms. Okay. So this is platform dynamics. And essentially how this is going to work is we have an SOP hub here for every platform that you want to operate. Okay. Now we're going to cover 5 things in each of these SOP hubs. First, the profile. How should we configure our profile for optimal appointments? Next, leads. How do we find leads, connections, friends, profiles to follow, etc. Next, limits. How many new messages can we send per day per account? Content. What sort of content should we be posting while doing DM Sorcery? And finally, warming up. How should we behave for the first 1 to 4 weeks of a new account? So each platform has a resource with video instructions on how to use it. And if you do hire any setters here, just send them this Google Doc for the platforms you pick. Okay, so each of these resources here contains a video and document instructions on how to configure profiles, find leads, and warm accounts. So I'll run you through the DM Sorcery one for Facebook here. Essentially how this works is if you click here, there will be a specific video for Facebook. Okay, and it's going to be around an hour long, but it's going to break down exactly how to use Facebook as a platform. We're going to go through profile configuration, and we have a specific document here on how to configure your profile with profile picture, cover photo, bio, and stuff to avoid, essentially. Next, we're going to go over lead sourcing, specifically how to lead source for Facebook. And this one here is a huge video. This is about an hour long, and it's going to be linked right at the top here, and it's going to break down how to use Facebook groups, competitors, the ads library, watch, marketplace, the algorithm, and reverse engineering Facebook pages. It goes into a lot of detail, and if you watch this video, there's no way you won't be able to find your niche on Facebook. Next, we're going to go over the daily limits, how to approach the daily workflow, what your daily limit will be, how to post content, and effectively how to warm up your account for the first 1 to 4 weeks. Okay, so now at this point in the video, go off, choose what platforms you're going to use, whether or not you want to use Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or Twitter, it's up to you. Click on these specific documents, open it up, and consume the content you need to do, and go ahead and get the platform set up for DM Sorcery. I'll see you in the SOP Hub.